Hello and welcome back to the Not the Old Firm YouTube channel. My name is Ben Banks, and yes, the party is well and truly over for Scotland at the Euros. Elimination on earlier in the week has sealed Scotland's fate. Yeah, a pretty demoralising couple of days for Scottish football, albeit plenty of positives to look back on. We'll do that as best we can. So we're not focusing too much on the doom and gloom of the last few weeks, last few days or so. It's certainly not been doing and gloom over the last few weeks. Been a very positive time for Scottish football. Fans of all teams getting behind the 11 on the park and those on the bench and those in the squad, the management team, etc. So look back on it all, including that game, the 3-1 defeat to Croatia, which sealed Scotland's place as fourth in the group. In Group D, happened on Tuesday night, of course. Everybody watching around the TV screens, fan parks, some were lucky enough to be at Hampden for the game. It's pretty simple. A win over Croatia on Tuesday would have been enough for Scotland to progress to the last 16. Both teams on 1 point, and 4 points would have been enough to get out of the group in third place. Came off the back of that 0-0 draw with England last week. Billy Gilmour stole the show on it, man of the match by a country mile, really, and looked to be the missing part of this team. Goals have always been the problem for Scotland under Steve Clarke, but Billy Gilmour looked to, I know he's not a scorer, but he passed the ball 5 yards forward instead of 5 yards back, and that started a lot of Scotland's attacks and why they created so many chances at Wembley. But before the game, he was uh, diagnosed with COVID-19, and probably what was one of the most Scottish football thing ever, the best player, at least from the game on Friday night, diagnosed with COVID and rolled out the games, and he'd have probably been out the last 16 tie as well. But obviously we couldn't think too far ahead to that, despite the fact somebody on this channel might have predicted the final and things like that. But yeah, a pretty big blow, and for me the writing was on the wall there. Without Billy Gilmour, it was going to be very hard to beat a 2018 Croatian finals group that they've had their critics. They've perhaps been called an aging squad, but with Luka Modric, Brozovic, Kovacic in the middle of the park, it was always going to be an uphill task for Scotland to compete with that, even though midfield's probably our strongest area in the park as well. You really need Gilmour in there to have it fully functioning, despite the fact he's only made one senior competitive cap, which probably just highlights just how good he is. But he never really got the feeling in this game that it was going to be one Scotland could win. Very much like the Czech Republic game, created a few chances and things like that. But as soon as Vlasic scored the goal to put Croatia ahead, then to me, even when Callum McGregor scored before half time, Scotland's first goal at a tournament since 1998, a great buzz as that went in. When you sit down and you reflect on that goal at half time and things like that, I don't think I felt like Scotland were going to then go on and win the game. Just the way it was going, and then in the second half, Croatia turned on the style a bit. Luka Modric's second goal was just ridiculous. Scotland have got a habit of conceding goal to tournament contenders, it would seem. And then the third one from the corner, Perisic heading in, just kills the game. So, yeah, out the tournament, 1 point, one goal. And when you say it like that, pretty disappointing, I think. There's a lot of people saying it's great to be here, not been at a tournament since 1998. For me, this group was achievable. You've seen what Hungary managed to do, albeit they're out as well, but up until about 6 minutes before full time, they looked like they could finish second in a group with Portugal, France, and Germany in it. You've seen Sweden, Ukraine, Wales, Denmark, they're all through from pretty tough groups. Scotland's group was tough. I mean, England and Croatia, who are 2018 World Cup finalists, it was always going to be difficult to get that second place. But for me, the game that killed it was the Czech Republic game. They were the team we've beaten home and away within the last 12 months. Probably the teams similar to us in terms of ability. We had them on home soil and we get beat. And for me, it was always an uphill task from there. To go and win at Wembley would have been amazing. And then the definitive got a point out of the Croatia game. And that just, yeah, that obviously never came to fruition. Perhaps if they'd got the winner at Wembley on Friday, the game on Tuesday would have been a bit different. They'd maybe sat in a bit more and played for a sort of scrappy 0-0, one each type result, because that's all they needed. But Croatia, a class above Scotland, then I think it'd be fair to say you just need to hold your hands up sometimes and say that they weren't good enough on the day for it. Can't say Scotland deserved to go through on the showing on Tuesday night. Don't think, again, it was similar to Czech Republic. Don't think it was like terrible, but again, not enough to to get us through. And perhaps that's the most concerning thing. It wasn't like there was a lack of effort. It was just that as a squad that they didn't seem good enough to get through that group. But overall, you don't want to be too critical of the players. The only thing I'd be slightly critical of is that the changes could have been made sooner on a lot of the games. The Monday game, Che Adams and Billy Gilmour probably should have started. Should have played the team that played against England against Czech Republic. Perhaps that game would have been different if we'd have started that a bit more attacking. And on Tuesday, the game, I mean, Stuart Armstrong's not a CDM, and I don't think he'd expected to play CDM, but there he was, did his best, but again, probably not suited to that role. Questions over whether he could have maybe brought Scott McTominay back into that, but again, I thought he was impressive again in defence, so perhaps that's where he is best placed for the national team. No real attacking subs brought on at any meaningful time. They were all like for like. Nathan Patterson brought on for his debut, and I mean, great credit to him. I think he's the only teenager to play at major finals for Scotland, but bringing him on at 3-1 down, 10 minutes to go at that point, you're probably not going to get through, but just throw every striker, every attacker you have on and go for it. But yeah, who am I? I'm sitting behind the keyboard most days, not the Scotland manager. Steve Clarke did get us here and they deserve credit for that, but I think it is only something like 3 wins and 14 now for Scotland. So yeah, big improvement in results is needed. As much as the performances have been okay, and of course you can get a bye because of the Euros. We don't want to be waiting another 23 years for a tournament. Don't want to be waiting 10 years for another tournament. You want it to be the 22 World Cup in Qatar and then the 2024 Euros. Of course, a nation like Scotland probably isn't going to qualify for every major tournament. I think that would probably be unrealistic. But you'd expect to qualify for 2 or 3 pretty much. If you look at it as the 2020 Euros, you'd really want to be qualifying between 2020 and 2030. Probably four of the tournaments, I think. So I hope I've done the math and I don't look incredible still as I try and do it mentally in my head just now. But nonetheless, great week, I think, for the nation. It did give us all something to look forward to off the back of what's been a really difficult year for everybody. And the game against England as well. You don't want to be celebrated too much and things like that, because at the end of the day it was a 0-0 draw, but that was a great result, and the reaction after that just showed what can happen when the national team does well on the biggest stage. So credit to them for that, but they'll go back now. Well deserved rest for all these guys, especially the ones down in the English Premier League who have been playing pretty much since July last year, playing straight through. They'll get a well deserved couple of weeks break before they're back into a pre-season with their clubs, and then it's World Cup qualifying from September. That'll come into more focus now as we look to go to World Cup Qatar. It's a short turnaround for the Euros and the World Cup. The World Cup starting next December in 2022. So yeah, quick turnaround. Of course, the Euros doesn't finish, although it might. The life and soul of the party is away now. Plenty of Euros actually still to come. Well, maybe there'll be bits and bobs it. But for us, mainly 95% of our stuff is going to turn back to the domestic scene, which is just about kicking off really. Pretty much most of the teams are back in pre-season. Hibs and St Johnstone are back next Monday as I record this on the 24th of June. So they're back a wee bit later because the European games start a bit later. But other than that, the teams who kick off the Premier Sports Cup in a couple of weeks' time, they're all been back for a week, or they've been back this week, and they'll be preparing for the games they've got with friendlies and different stuff. Quite exciting to see some of the friendlies that have been arranged because of COVID and different bits and bobs. A lot of the bigger English teams are coming down this neck of the woods to play friendly. So we've got Arsenal playing Hibs at Easter Road, we've got West Ham playing Dundee, Millwall are playing Mullow, I think, as well, at the Oriam. So plenty of exciting stuff going to be coming over the next couple of weeks. We've got an exclusive interview with Hibs Sporting Director Graham Matthew coming out at the weekend. That's a really exciting one for Hibs fans. I think it's roughly about 40 minutes, covering all sorts of things from their youth academy to how they're going to deal with transfers, their European campaign, everything pretty much that I could think of anyway, covered in that video. So do check that out once it is live. Bye, thanks for checking out these reaction pieces to the Scotland games at the Euros and our Euro 2025 series, which will come to a close now that Scotland are out. Enjoyed doing them, and nice to speak to guys and actually being a bit hopeful about the national team, but I'm sure we'll be back to pessimism when it comes to September. But no, thank you for watching this video, subscribe to the channel, and until next time. Agreed.